Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today it's Dominican Republic Weekly, episode 31 Airbnb Rules from Airbnb. And Dominican Republic also knows this, so we're going to be talking about that article. And we have more people talking about vacation and tourism in the Dominican Republic for the winter months. That's right. You know Dominican Republic is in the top 5 places that people want to go and a little bit more that we have to talk about. And welcome. Stop struggling now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here. Why? So you can share the video, so other people can find out about what's going on around the world and in the Dominican Republic for the Dominican Republic Weekly episode series. And let's get to it. I want to take you to the Stop Struggling Now YouTube podcast page. Why? Because I always like to show off what YouTube shows off our members over here on the right-hand side. There's a join button if you'd like to join, but members of our channel, they do receive a little special perks, such as under the community tab, just for them, for members only, they get to receive passwords. So they can join me on any live stream that we have. On Wednesday night, only members with the icon can be in the chat room to have part of the discussion with everyone. And they also have special emojis that they rarely use. And members also after a year receive special gear. And there's a few other things as well. But please find out more to become a member of the channel. I also want to thank everybody who has signed up for Instagram. As of Wednesday night, October 30th, we were up to 924 followers, and sure enough, another day, this is a new record, by the way, they took away 2 more followers so they continue this situation where they drop off followers. Again, we are now at 922. We've never gotten above 921 until you guys were kind enough to go over here. And again, as you can see, we keep dropping back down to stay within this 914 now to 922 territory. And again, I find that awfully funny. Once again, go over here, show some love. And I also want to start off with Dominican Chamber of Deputies approved $625 million in loans. Remember when everybody was rejoicing over last week and a half where they said we're glad that the tax reform proposal did not go through? Well, here is the repercussions. Because if they can't get tax money, that means there has to be loans. And they have already approved $625 million in loans, as you can see here. And I'll have a link down below to this so you can go check it out for yourself. They have approved loans of $625 million on Wednesday. That's correct, October 30th. These funds, requested by the executive branch, are aimed at addressing climate change and improving medium and low voltage networks in the national electrical system. Despite opposition, the ruling Dominican Revolutionary Party, otherwise known as PRM, and its allied parties used their majority to pass the proposal. Again, remember, they have the numbers to pass anything they want. All right. The approved loans include 100 million from the French Development Agency and 300 million from the Inter-American Development Bank. These are loans, ladies and gentlemen. Who has to pay this back eventually? Taxpayers. This is some of the fallout that I was referring to when you were happy about this. Additionally, 225 million loan from the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development will be used by the government-owned electricity distribution companies to enhance their infrastructure. Remember the infrastructure? Where are you going to get the money from if you don't tax? This is what you have to do. And that also means you have an IOU with interest. All loan agreements now be sent to the Senate for further approval. Well, PRM has a majority in the Senate as well, along with their allies. So again, this is going to be approved. This is what happens when you do not think about responsibility. So therefore, they're doing it a different way, and you know taxpayers will have to pay for these loans. And you're going to be paying for it anyhow because your currency is going to be devalued a little bit. I mean, you still might stay at this 57 to 59 to 1 against the US dollar, but this is why I always say, be careful what you wish for. Here it is also, be careful what you wish for. Everybody who went out here buying pre-construction projects above my recommendation levels of anywhere from 0 to 250,000. If you can't rent for a 0.1% or more, then you are going to be in trouble. Why are you going to be in trouble? Well, Airbnb launches the responsible host section to educate Dominican hosts on tax obligations. I want you guys to understand. December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we have our SSN Lifestyle Punta Cana Investors Forum. This Investors Forum is for people who are thinking about doing business, who's thinking about doing real estate, who wants residency, any of those things. That's why on December 2nd, we go see lawyers. So you have an idea and understanding on what you can do in the Dominican Republic. The second day, which is the 3rd, we actually go around and check out projects. We go see the lay of the land. So that way you understand exactly how things are situated around the Punta Cana area. So now when you are investing or thinking about doing business or just vacationing, you'll know where you want to stay relative to where everything of interest is for you. Now, the next day, because we have a lot of people who have invested in Dominican Republic, it's always good if you know where and how much the banks are charging you for interest on loans. If somebody tells you it's 8.5% loan fixed rate for 1 year, you're going, 1 year? I can't pay this off in 1 year. They say, we know that. But in order to extend it to a 15, 20-year loan, we have adjustable rates at 12.5%. That's right. This is not a misspeak. 12.5% adjustable. Every month, every 6 months, every year, depending on what happens with the economy in the Dominican Republic, could dictate if you have a lower interest rate or a higher interest rate. But each time they adjust it, you are in jeopardy, because if the economy goes bad, interest rates go higher because they can't pay these loans. See, this is where this is all coming into play. So we won't get too much into the weeds because I'll make a video about this separately so everybody can understand. But I want you guys to understand this is why all of this is going down. But you, Dominican hosts, when you have property in the Dominican Republic, whether it's business, whether it's going to be personal, any short-term rental seem to be treated as business. So I'll have a link down below for this whole thing, but I want to show you guys something because I had a feeling we would be at this point when this eventually becomes to a head. Here it is. Under the news section, Airbnb emphasized that individual hosts are fully responsible for meeting their tax obligations, as circumstances may vary. Remember this, if you make money in the Dominican Republic, no matter where you're from, you are obligated to pay taxes in the Dominican Republic. If you are a U.S. citizen, for example, then therefore you can write off on your taxes. It's like you either write it off on your taxes in America, or you just pay the taxes in the DR. There's just no way around it. Just so you know. So you're going to be paying the taxes in the DR. Then when you file your tax returns, you're going to say, I paid this in the Dominican Republic, so therefore it should be a tax deduction on the other side. See your accountant in the US. All right. The guide outlines essential steps for hosts, such as registering with the National Registry of Taxpayers, otherwise known as RNC. Here's the one kicker right here. Who knew you're going to have to do this? And including the 18% ITBIS on invoices to guests. So hopefully Airbnb, they have no choice. They sign up, add the 18% on there, and Airbnb handles the payment directly. That just makes it nice and simple, because then this thing about me trying to collect separately, doing a short-term rental on the island just by a property manager who is not hooked up with Airbnb or any other short-term platform, we could have a problem. But just letting you know, this is why some of the time they said don't become a business. Why? Because I'm about to show you why. If you want to put your property under a business name, those earnings above specified thresholds must file an annual ISR return. No, which is a progressive based on income. You see what happens here? Depending on how much money you make, you're going to have to pay additional tax. For host operating as a registered company, SRL, they are subject to a 27% ISR on income and an additional 1% on recorded assets. So remember, you guys are talking about, let me go down here and put this in my SRL name. Your SRL, and you bought something for $100,000. You have tax 27 plus 1% of your recorded assets, and it does not apply. Because it's a business, it does not apply for Comfortour. Just keep that in mind. Okay? This tax framework applies equally to small businesses and larger corporations in the short-term rental sector. We knew that. That's why I was talking as it is. All right? The introduction of the guide has elicited mixed responses from Dominican tourism industry. The Association of Hotels and Tourism Dominican Republic has requested additional time to evaluate the guidelines before making an official statement. Of course you are, because this is going to affect you guys too. You thought this was just going to affect one person. Oh my, how the tables always seem to turn. I love it. Here we are. This is on Airbnb. I will give you a link down below so you guys can actually come here so you can go look for yourself. So anybody now who's doing Dominican Republic investments, you need to understand, if you're going to be renting out any property there, they are expecting you to pay your fair share. I'm just saying, tax payments is here. How to help stop human trafficking. Okay. Who are vulnerable? Indicators of exploitation. What to do if you suspect. Okay. Insurance. Work with your insurance agent or insurance company to determine what types of coverage, limits, obligations are required for your specific circumstances. Is this starting to add up yet, ladies and gentlemen? You think you're just going to go out here and buy $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 worth of property and thinking you're going to be able to make it profitable? Host damage protection and host liability insurance. How's that going to go for you when you're in a hurricane zone? I'm just asking. Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Most of these properties do not have these by the developers. Keep that in mind. Just saying, they like to have these as a host. And you can get a free carbon smoke detector if you don't have one. For active Airbnb hosts who are unable to purchase their own carbon monoxide detectors, Airbnb will cover the cost and send you a free alarm. You will be responsible for any applicable customs taxes. Well, there you go. Hosts are limited to one alarm, but we strongly recommend installing additional alarms based on the needs of your accommodation. Again, this is what I'm talking about. You have a lot to do, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Cleaning and disinfection. Airbnb enhanced cleaning protocol, you need to understand they're trying to make it a criteria, and then they have some host clubs. Once again, this is Dominican Republic Weekly, episode 31. And of course, I'm going to make this short and sweet because we're talking about Dominican Republic, among the favorite destinations of Americans for winter vacations. Are we going to get to that 8.5 to 9 million by air tourist number that I thought we would reach this year? They haven't put out the numbers yet for the month of September. I think that the month of September, I have a sneaky suspicion, since they haven't announced it in the whole month, that the numbers last month was just 10% above. I have a feeling this month may be lower and may not be anything noticeable like a new record. Otherwise, they would have spouted it already. So we probably will be within that 8.5 to 9 million. But can we get to that 9.5 to 10 next year? I think so. Here it is. The Dominican Republic ranks 4th on the list of places U.S. travelers prefer for their winter getaways for 2024 through 2025 season, according to demand trends based on data intelligence from Marbrion Travel Intelligence. The Marbrion Search Share Index indicates there is a growing interest in Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and the Mexican Caribbean, of course, as well as in specific destinations such as Jamaica, the Bahamas, and the DR. This is pretty awesome. This growth reflects the record reported in October for travel between November 2024 and February 2025 to the Caribbean destination of greatest interest to Americans, Mexican Caribbean, the Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Barbados, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Bahamas. This is excellent, ladies and gentlemen. So the Caribbean Tourism Organization, they say everything is going well. And once again, there is traffic happening all over the Caribbean. This is a good sign for all of you who are owners in any of those destinations. But again, be wary of how much you're purchasing real estate property for in any of these countries, because taxes are not the same in the United States. You don't get to decrease your taxes significantly like you do in America. So keep all that in mind. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. In an ever-changing world, no matter where you are, Dominican Republic's a perfect example. When you're growing up, there's a lot of growing pains. And you have to do what a lot of people don't want to do. Pay more in taxes, insurance. But in order to grow, you have to build your infrastructure. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.